What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 53 of the Download Queue, your new favorite place for all things gaming, gaming discussion, gaming releases, whatever it may be. We're going to skip a lot of the big stuff, introduction stuff today, Kyle, because we got, if you're on video, as you can see, some special guests. I'm so excited for this episode. Been planning this for a while. Our Fantasy Critic 2025 draft, which I believe, looking back, this is like my 5th year doing it. So hopefully other people in the space, in the scene, other content creators make this a good time. We'll get some introductions here before we get started with rules and all that. Kyle, you're first in the list. Kick it off with you. People know who you are, but still, give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah, hello, Kyle, making content. I take care of my daughter mainly during the day, and then at night I squeeze in time to do this stuff and trying to not go back to a typical 9 to 5. So making wrestling content, starting cooking content. I made bread today, so I'm just an everything type of guy, trying stuff out. But excited that we have more people here to talk games, because that's how this started. I reached out on Twitter, X, whatever we're gonna call it, to Badlands when he started this, and it's cool that we're here now. So first off, thank y'all for joining, and I'm excited.
It's been a wild year, and it's only going up from here. Next up, going down the list, we have Mr. Kenny UFG, Mr. Ryan, his reviews on IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, wherever, man's everywhere. Also, recently, my new Smite 2 partner. We're climbing those ranks.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that makes us allies as we go through this, because I have some targets on me from these other two.
First of all, thanks for having me. I guess a little bit about myself. You kind of said some of it where I've written for several different sites. Started writing about video games back in 2006. Went to E3 that year. Had a wild time. I have some crazy stories about that. And been writing ever since. As of late, though, I moved over into film and television. So I'm a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic. And but I still cover game and talk about games and stuff like that. So it was dope to hear about this, because I've heard about it, but I've never actually tried. I've seen a lot of my peers do this, so I was like, yeah, I'll definitely be down to, pick some games, especially with my background in games writing. I'm like, this should be interesting.
Perfect. Glad to have you here. And lastly, rounding out the list, my fellow Detroit Lions fan, who I ran through his Game of the Year gauntlet last year for his betting on Twitter. Hopefully doesn't have it out for me here. Mr. Big Nerd Gaming, how are you doing?
Hey, good, man. Happy to be here. I'm excited to do this. I've second year doing Fantasy Critic, so I think I got a pretty decent handle on it. So I'm probably going to win. Just throwing it out there. But
hey, depending who you ask here, corrupt commissioner over here.
I'm just saying, if you go to our league last year, there's still trades pending. I'm pretty sure it's the commissioner's fault, and the commissioner ended up winning one. Our friend here.
I didn't know you could trade, so I'm not as experienced as I thought. But yeah, blogs bignerdgaming.com. I post twice a week. It's fun times. It's a fun little hobby for me. But see, it's growing, so I'm happy with it, and I'm happy to be here today.
Awesome. Let's dive in. Quick rules for everyone tuning in. Kenny, first time. Fantasy Critic Draft at base level is essentially gamers' take on fantasy football. You take over the role of a fictional publisher, drafting games that are releasing this year, hoping to score points. You score points based off of Open Critic scores, based off of a baseline of 70. So if a game gets to 71, you're getting 1 point. 72, 2 points. That follows up till you reach 90, and every point after 90 counts for 2. So you're really shooting for the 90s. Want to keep it safe, though. 70s, 80s, however you want to play. If you go below 70s, every point below that is negative points. Obviously want to avoid. Today we will be drafting. I have it currently set for 14 games total. We will be drafting our initial 7. For the remaining 7 of the year, each person has fictional $100 to use and spend. So as stuff is announced, if you see a new title release that you kind of want to pick up, hop over on the site. You're able to place a bid, which is secret, I believe, until Saturday evening, and then it goes public for everyone else, where the site will be, hey, X game was bid on. Won't say by who, won't say how much. So other people, if they want it, can try and hop in and steal it, let it go, whatever it may be. On the other side of things, we'll also be drafting a counter pick today, which is where the dice get messy. Say Kyle drafts something that I either think is going to be gets delayed, whatever it be. I'll counter pick that. If that gets above 70, I get minus points. If it goes below, I get positive. If it doesn't come out, it just stays at a flat 0. So it kind of keeps you safe, depending how much you want to place bets on stuff. Stuff that is counterpicked, though, is locked in for the year, so you are unable to drop it if it does get delayed. So if you just want to target someone out because of that, you can. As mentioned, there is trades. Kyle, if you want to dive into that, how that works, because I actually have never done that either. You bringing that up last year was the first time. Oh, he's muted. Kyle, you're muted. Get your Steam on.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I messed with trades last year just for fun. I was so far in last place, and no one traded with me. But how that system works, you just go in and view. You're able to make trades, look at what other players have drafted into their teams. You can go game for game. You could trade just for cash as well, and then it's up to the other player and the commissioner to accept it. I mean, we'll see if things get corrupt. I don't think they literally will with this. So trades will probably just be standard. It's up to the people trading them. And if it's outrageous, we could talk about it then. But pretty straightforward.
As far as the site works, I'll have to get, I believe, bids processed Sunday night if those go through, if you do bid on stuff. It's pretty automated as far as adding new releases. So if a new trailer gets dropped, a new game gets released, it's on the site pretty much end of day, if not the next day right away. So it stays up pretty well. So it'll just be a thing of managing your $100, managing how much you want to bid. There is a $1 minimum bid, so you can't just come in and drop a 0, hoping to sneakily pass something by. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's I was telling before we started, it's very much a game of how you want to play. If you want to play with just stuff you're excited for, pretty safe bets, ride the line, do it. If you want to get the GTA 6 bit in there, thinking that's still going to drop in 2025, more power to you. It's whatever you want this to be. Also with this is a snake draft, so the order is up here, randomized by the site. So Kyle will start. Kenny, when we get to you at number 4, you will actually pick 2 in a row, and then it works back up the list. So.
Sounds good.
Kind of keeps it. Kyle, if you are ready, I'm going to hit the start draft, and we're going to kick this off, because this may go a little long with discussion.
No, I am fully ready. Let's do it. I don't like that I'm first, because I have to make a decision. Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it's in the 90s if it comes out, right? Like, is it like a 99, 100 if it comes out? But if it doesn't, you know, do I miss out on another game, or do I just take the wash? Because are you going to counterpick it? So like, if it doesn't come out, I just get 0, right? I could technically drop it, right? Unless someone counterpicks it. Is that how that works?
Unless someone counterpicks, yeah. You're allowed, with how delays have been, it's set to unlimited drops currently for delayed games. So just the counterpick one kind of gets you stuck in.
Yeah, so I don't know. Or do I go for Ghost? You know, I'm feeling high about Ghost of Yote, Doom, Monster Hunter Wilds, Avowed. I didn't want to go first, I'll say that.
I'm happy you are, though. I will say, all those ones you just listed also aren't the ones I thought was going to be your first pick, so I'm curious to see where you go.
Those are just the ones that are top of Fantasy Critic.
Okay.
So those are the ones I'm listing. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to pick Grand Theft Auto if I'm being honest. So I'm going to go with Monster Hunter Wilds. I think that is a game that gets good reviews on the Metacritic or on the Open Critic. That's what they use. And not a game that I will play or I have played, but I'm going to go with almost assured points on this one.
That's safe. I personally have not jumped into Monster Hunter at all, but it's early, even when it was announced, early game of the year discussion already, just from what was shown off at reveal and previews.
Yeah, anytime you have a release date, I feel like that's something you gotta go towards. Which I mean, there's no release date for this one, but I feel pretty confident. It seems pretty set to come out this year, so I'm gonna take Doom: The Dark Ages. I actually just started diving into this series in anticipation of this, and it's great so far. And it seems like a guaranteed 90. Seems I feel pretty confident it's coming out and that it's gonna be good. So easy pick, going safe, avoiding GTA.
Avoiding GTA. Yeah, I've been following your tweets, playing through these, and it's a solid experience. It's been fun seeing how different Doom 2016 was to Doom Eternal. Because Doom Eternal became the very like high flyer, up in the air, constantly moving more so. And then reverting back with Doom Dark Ages kind of being a more grounded experience. I'll be curious to see how that takes on with people.
I probably like it more, to be honest.
Easier to manage.
Yeah, Doom Eternal kind of like threw everything in the kitchen sink, and it was kind of got kind of overwhelming towards the end, I guess. Well, for me, anyways, it was just constant like, oh, I have to kill this guy using this weapon, and I have to do it this way, and there's all these things coming at me, and if I kill this guy with the chainsaw, I get health back. Oh no, I'd kill him with the chainsaw, I get bullets. I'm supposed to kill him with this to get health, and yeah, it was just a lot comparatively to the previous one. So I'm interested in how Dark Ages is. Yeah.
Not long to wait. Again, part of the Xbox Developer Direct next week, so hopefully get a release date there.
Oh, I think we will. Yeah, May.
Later. My first pick. Again, a couple ways, as I mentioned. Do you go with the unannounced stuff for spicy points? Do you go for GTA 6? Not going for GTA 6. Or are you going for the win? And there's certain titles that aren't necessarily me games that are almost guaranteed 90s. Kyle, I'm coming out swinging to start, and I'm nabbing Civilization 7 as my first pick in the 2025 draft. Again, not my type of thing.
Will it let you?
Oh my god, it already has reviews. Why does it have reviews? No!
I tried to add it to my watch list earlier, and it... Oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. Yeah, because they... when the Switch 2 was announced, they also announced people have been playing it, and they posted reviews, apparently. That's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's wild. Wow. That was guaranteed.
Not.
We're hard left turn. Ignore everything I just said. I did not make a watch list. I've been too busy doing other stuff for this. Going with the other one. That's
GTA.
I'm not taking GTA. I'm going unannounced, kind of. As we are all aware, yesterday got the Switch 2 announcement, and with that was our first tease at the next mainline Mario Kart for Switch 2, which I will be picking up because Nintendo is safe bets all the way around. Consistently high quality. Year with new hardware, people will be excited for the new stuff. I personally have a couple worries about it from the little bit we've seen, but we got time.
The safe pick.
With that, drops it down to Mr. Kenny. Again, 2 in a row for you before you head back up the list.
All right, so I'm a Yakuza fan, so I'm going to go with Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I think it's going to be, especially after the last Like a Dragon, or last few actually did pretty well. I think it's going to review well. I think it's going to do well. So that's going to be my first pick. And I think my second pick will be,
He's thinking.
You know what? I'm just going to do it. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm going there.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Grab it.
I'm gonna shake it up a little bit.
On your end, Kenny, on the left, you do have to draft it yourself on your side.
Oh, I do? Okay.
Yeah, there'll be a draft game option. Yakuza is interesting. I'm excited for it. I'm a huge fan of the series recently. Number 2 last year for my Game of the Year, Infinite Wealth. But their side spin-offs haven't hit for me with Man Who Erased His Name. I had a lot lot. Again, weird PS5 bugs, Kyle. I had that game continuously crash on me, like hard crash my console to a point I couldn't finish it. And it kind of dropped my hype overall. But the new one I'm excited for. It seems like what Ubisoft wanted to do with Skull and Bones to begin with. And we're getting it from RGG within a year.
Yeah, the direct sold. I wasn't that high on it. I thought it was maybe a little too goofy, but the direct sold me on it. That was, it looked a lot deeper than I expected. A lot deeper than I expected.
I can't get Like a Dragon. It already has reviews. Dang it.
What? That one should not.
All right. Well,
you can still take it. Hold on.
I didn't see any reviews of it.
Yeah, it definitely does not.
It's like a month away.
Okay, you should be good. That one I'm going to allow because that shouldn't have reviews for it. Yeah, Westerner, what you were saying, it is it's goofy to an extent, but it does such a good balance to it, and keeping the goofiness still kind of locked down as far as like a grounded emotional thing, as dumb as that sounds. On our Game of the Year discussion, I brought up there's a side quest in the last one, without spoilers, but there's a gang that essentially likes hanging out in diapers, grown men hanging out in diapers.
Yep.
But they use that and like the diaper insulation to help build snow for a dying woman's last wish before she passes. And it just becomes like an emotionally heart-wrenching thing. Like the way it balances the goofiness from that is really well done.
Yep.
Shadows, though, interesting. Are you personally excited for Shadows, Kenny, or?
I am. I haven't been excited for Assassin's Creed in a while, and but I have been. I'm a fan of Tenchu and games like that, and so I was interested in it. And then when they showed the protagonist, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then they showed gameplay, and I was like, okay, this is kind of where I want to be with Assassin's Creed. And from what I've heard, like the previous Assassin's Creed, it wasn't this huge, bloated experience like the previous one was, and which is some of the things that turned me off from the game. Like it just felt super grindy and stuff like that. And so if this is similar, then I think it's going to be a solid game. And then it's also, I think the second Assassin's Creed game with a black protagonist. I think there was one on, I think the PSP, I think. And so I'm like, oh, this is even cooler. So I'm interested in it, and I think it's going to do well, especially with them pushing it back for, refinement and stuff. I think it's going to, it's not going to be like hundreds everywhere, but I think it's going to do well.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for it. I very echo my attitude about Assassins. Similar to you, like Valhalla is where I dropped off. So bloated. I went back and now I was in Olympus and I was like, what is going on? Or you're in Valhalla. It's so confused. It's cool, I guess, for those people, but I like that this one leading into it, everything they learned from Mirage as well. Get away from the bloat, hopefully. And yeah, these delays, hopefully they just fine tune it. I'm scared for what it means for Ubisoft as a whole. I think a lot is going to be put upon this game to fix Ubisoft's financial situation. And we'll see what that means. I don't know what that's going to mean, but I'm hopeful for this because we've been waiting for this Assassin's Creed in this setting for a while. And I do like the dual protagonists. I liked when they did it with the Evie twins or whatever they were called in
Jacob and Evie Fry.
Syndicate. Yeah. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So they could do some cool stuff with that.
Fair enough. I'll take up for my second pick this year. I'm picking a personal excited for, but a previous Game of the Year winner. I'm going with Split Fiction. Follow up for It Takes Two, which I absolutely fell in love with when it first came out. I recently picked it up again with my girlfriend, playing through it. And it's a fun thing and something that I feel gaming's really missing nowadays. Like, it's the stereotypical, oh, no couch co-op stuff, but the way they do it and incorporate so many different gameplay mechanics and so many different twists and so many different visual flares, like it's kind of going through an amusement park almost. Of each time you turn a new corner, there's some new thing to explore, some new bright, vibrant thing. Like, just super excited. I hope this does well. If it hits up in Game of the Year discussion end of the year, with how this year's panning out, is yet to be seen, obviously. Split Fiction will be my number 2.
I'm pumped. I thought I might be able to get it like third round. So, yeah, I'm playing It Takes Two right now, and it's so good. It's just so consistently varied, and just one awesome set piece after another, and then you get to throw a sci-fi and fantasy alternating worlds back to back. I'm sure it's going to be even crazier. I mean, everyone's nervous about it getting delayed, but they announced a release window. It would be like earth-shattering if it got delayed, so I'm just going to go ahead and say GTA 6.
Ooh.
Like, that's a steal at this point.
It's the elephant in the room, right?
I think it's a good chance it should come out this year. I want it to. I'm just so intrigued to see what they're doing with online and their single player campaign, because I don't think they release a GTA 6 without a single player story at all. Like, that's a given. They're going to do online, but I just think there's going to be more of a bridge between the two, as opposed to like you're loading in the story and you're loading in the online. I could see them being way more interconnected, and I'm just fascinated by what Rockstar is doing beyond just like a better engine, runs better, looks better and stuff.
I hope GTA 6, we've talked about it before, Kyle, but I've yet to even touch GTA 5 personally. Like, it is one of the just blank slates on my history for gaming. Played a ton of GTA 4, but 5 never appealed to me. The way online work didn't do it for me, of wanting to jump in and put that much time into it, especially as a solo player for the most part. I'm curious to see what, as Kyle said, is different with 6 to bring the few like me into it.
That's me now. I think I get 2 in a row.
2 in a row, sir.
I am going to go with another unannounced game, and I did draft this last year. I was hopeful, but the Switch 2 did not make it. But what will make it this year is the unannounced mainline 3D Mario platformer that is going to hit the Switch 2 by fall. They can't just have it be Mario Kart. So I feel like that's kind of a risk, but I think we'll get that.
Take Hollow Knight after that. There you go.
I think you did last year.
I could. I didn't take Hollow Knight last year. That's where it gets interesting, because I think now we're in the rounds where you could wait and you're most likely fine on some games, but you never know. I'm going to go with one that I think is kind of a for sure hit outside of people hating women as protagonists. But that is Ghost of Yotai. I'm going to draft that one there. Just beautiful Ghost of Tsushima, and they're just going to make that even more so. And I love Erika Ishii, so the performance there, I think, she's going to knock it out of the park, or they're going to knock it out of the park. And playing more Tsushima this year casually, just taking my time with it. I got the story spoiled for me, so now I just go when I want to relax and take pictures and just kind of get lost in the combat. The first one, there's something relaxing about the fights and everything, and they can get stressful, but I don't know, once you get a hang of switching to different stances, like there's a flow to combat, and I'm excited with what they could do with Yotai, and the art and aesthetic already looks beautiful.
All right, I'm gonna go. So this game, my next pick, the first game got an 83 on Open Critic, but I think people get it now. I think that game had an uphill climb to get good reviews, and people that are going to review Death Stranding 2 are going to know what they're jumping into this time, and I think that's going to help it a lot. So I'm taking Death Stranding 2. I feel pretty confident it's going to get closer to the 90s this time.
That was one of my picks.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, Death Stranding is the weird one.
Well, like, look at Dragon's Dogma 2 last year. Like, by all accounts, that game's pretty similar to the first Dragon's Dogma, but just the people reviewing it actually knew what the hell they were jumping into this time. So I think we're going to see something similar with Death Stranding.
I think with Death Stranding too, it'll be interesting how its release goes with changes Kojima's made with publishing rights and stuff. If that is assuming a PS5 launch, or if it does end up on Xbox and have Xbox reviewers adding on to the score for it, how different that's going to change it from initial first game reviews, if at all. Third pick. There's another big one, Kyle, that I'm looking at, and I feel I'll be called a hypocrite if I pick it up. Because in my eyes, I don't know necessarily if it's coming out this year, or if I keep it a little safer.
Go for it.
For my third pick, I'm going to grab pick up Avowed. Avowed, I feel, is kind of a toss-up, really. It's in a weird place and has had a weird history already, and it'll depend what people's expectations of it are going in. Going back from that first reveal trailer where it was this like massive graphic powerhouse and bunch of particle effects and like true next-gen graphics or whatever, and then it disappeared for 2 years and came back and was super cartoony, and hey, we're scaling it back to be kind of Outer World size. It's, from previews that people have done that I've seen, they seem to enjoy it. That seems to be solid Obsidian usual, but I hope it goes past what people are expecting from Obsidian and kind of reaches and pushes them to that next tier as far as a developer goes. Because I don't think anyone would argue that they're not solid. It's just they haven't had that real breakout, holy crap, you guys are serious type release. And I hope Avowed gets to be that for them finally.
I was going to pick this up because I do believe this one can be that for them. They also, like, this story is set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, not Path of Exile. Pillars of Eternity universe, so they have like something to pull back up from. They have lore that they can reference and use to not just help fill it out. So I think we are going to get a deep narrative RPG story, and that is what this game is going to be. I'm hopeful for it. I really am. I can't wait to play it.
It's probably a guaranteed 8 at least. I mean, Obsidian's pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, sir, back to you.
All right. Let's see. I have a bunch. I think I'm gonna try Atomfall.
Ooh.
Because I feel like people are, especially after the Fallout television show, I think people are kind of ready for another Fallout, but we're not getting one right away. And I think this could kind of fill that void. And everything that I've seen about it, it doesn't strike me as anything that's going to be like revolutionary, but it looks like it's going to be solid at what it tries to do. Storytelling, your options, combat, they all look pretty solid. And I think with the extra, because I want to say they pushed it back. It seemed like it got extra polish, so maybe it won't be a buggy, Fallout-esque experience in that regard. And so I think Atomfall will be a solid pick. Let's see. I need to go and grab that. Am I still doing two games?
Yep, it just goes back up the list again.
All right. And
then, I'm looking forward to Atomfall for those reasons. If they can hit it, it's going to be pretty good, pretty cool.
Let's see. And then, so I have, let's see. I have 2 games that are not out, or like they don't have release dates. I'm like, which one should I pick?
Hollow Knight Silk Song.
I'm gonna go South of Midnight. I think everything that I've seen about that game looks really cool and looks different. And the like visuals are really dope. Like I like the animated kind of stop motion. I don't know. It's very nice to look at. And I think like from what I've heard about the story and stuff like that is very interesting. And I wish I could see a little bit more gameplay, so that I'm a little iffy on that part. But for the most part, it's something that I'm super interested in. So I think I'm gonna snag that one.
Yeah, South of Midnight again falls in that category that Avowed is in for Obsidian, where I hope that's their breakout sort of hit. We Happy Few, it was solid for what it was, but didn't really like break down any doors. I played their first game, Contrast, beginning of last year, actually. Solid platformer. It had a lot of cool ideas to like build the game upon. But again, it just didn't quite get past that final push it needed to be a critical community success, I would say.
Do you think the extra bit of, because this is after being bought, do you think that, having publisher backing could potentially push this forward a little bit more? Because I want to say the previous ones, though they were published, it was kind of a, more of an indie budget type thing, whereas this one had a little bit more time to cook because they had more money and stuff like that. Could that be like a factor that makes this their breakout game?
I mean, you would hope between that and just the time it's been. I just looked up, actually, We Happy Few came out in 2016, so it's been almost 10 years by the time this is going to be pushed out. So yeah, you would hope that that's in part of giving them more resources, more time from Xbox. Because they were in that initial push, I think, right? It was them, Ninja Theory, when they got Playground, like they were that initial first big reveal of publishers they bought, and they're the last one to kind of hit the gates running since that happened.
Yeah, and watching a lot of the social media stuff they've been pushing, it seems like they've brought in a lot of experts and people who are just knowledgeable on the South to get things right. And like, I remember paraphrasing here, but someone on the dev team saying like, we don't live there and we don't have anyone on our team there, so we had to go get that because we can't authentically recreate that. So that is, I would imagine, helpful and doable when you have the backing of Microsoft trying to fulfill a Game Pass catalog. You don't just need one big game that's going to sell. You need things for a lot of different people and to fill out spaces. So I imagine that should help it, especially based on how much they've been marketing the stuff so far. And I do expect we'll get a lot more marketing post the dev direct, where they'll give a deep dive. I do want to see more gameplay too. That's the one question mark I have, but it's more, let me see it.
Decisions for round 4. I have one that I'm saving that I don't think's gonna be picked up. That'll be a fun end off the list pick for. I think I'm gonna take a chance with one that I've been seeing a lot online. I've been seeing what the developer is putting out and doing a bunch of gameplay videos, behind the scenes sort of stuff. More close knitted marketing for it. Very much in the vein of Cuphead. I'm going to take Mouse, PI for Hire.
Oh, okay.
This is a super stylistic first-person shooter. Does that same kind of old-school Disney screen-printed cartoon aesthetic on it. All the items and like background images are bouncing around and like they're dancing to music like old Disney cartoons do. Super just aesthetically pleasing. It has so much charm where you pick up a shield and your little heart icon on the bottom gets like armor and gets all tough. And as you take damage, it starts whittling away. It kind of retreats back in like a worried state. It seems like they're putting a lot of love and care into small aspects like that, which I hope they're also doing for the main gameplay loop. And hopefully it hits. I'm personally excited for this. I think it's just early 2025, I think, so far for a release window. Nothing solid. So hopefully not facing a delay.
All right, I was afraid you were about to take mine, so luckily I survived. I'm gonna take my number one most anticipated game of the year, Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Ooh.
A lot of confidence in this one. New developer, so that's always the scary part, but just it looks basically like what Final Fantasy would look like if it had a modern turn-based game. Like just incredible production values, action elements mixed with the turn-based, top-tier voice acting. This looks great. I'm very confident in it.
Yeah, such a solid cast for a first game from that team too. Like big names.
Yeah, Ben Starr, Shadowheart. I think the guy who played Gollum.
Andy Serkis, yep. Charlie Cox.
They're pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, it seems like they're doing it right now. My God, like just watch that game for 30 seconds. The art direction is incredible.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot, especially when it came out. That was my like surprise hit from last year's June showcase. Just such a unique, fun premise behind it. Like the idea of like this woman's painting a number in the sky, and everyone's gonna die that's age. Like just so over the top. I tweeted you about it actually before we started. I hope that the gameplay is solid. I hope the money budget didn't go into the voice acting and the actual gameplay parts didn't suffer because of it. But high hopes. Mr. Kyle, back to you.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, I'm happy no one picked this one because this is kind of similar to what Western was saying about one of his picks there. You had the sequel, or you heard the first one come out and you didn't know what you were getting into, but now the sequel's coming out and I think people know what it is, and everything I've seen looks really cool that we're about to get another deep medieval role-playing game right here, and that is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You already had the game queued. Oh, I'm in watch list. It was a very alarming red icon.
Jokes, there's already reviews.
I was worried, but it let me select it, unlike Civ 7, which I tried. But yeah, there's something about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 where they gave reviewers and people a month to play it. The script, the way it's jumped from like I think 200,000 to 2 million plus pages, like they took what was good in one, it looks like, and upped the ante all the way with Deliverance 2. So I saw a clip. Someone jumps on their horse and they're riding and they walk into a tree. That branch hits them and their player falls off the horse. And I'm like, that's the level we're getting with this type of game. All right, there's a level of goofy physics and such too. I think this is going to be a niche game that does review pretty well.
Is it just like a open world RPG, or this is completely blind spot to me for what this is?
I mean, yeah, it looks like it's an open world RPG. I would have to like look and give you more details, but
yeah, I mean,
I played a bit of the.
Yeah, it was kind of it's a big first person immersive game, like I think 14th century Bohemia, so it's different. It's you play as a normal person, you know, so it feels, the first game was very immersive. It just felt very weird to play. So we'll see. Hopefully, yeah, I said with the time they fixed it up. I think this one's less about developer or reviewers not knowing what they're getting into, and more did the developers improve. But giving a month for these people to play in advance is a pretty strong sign of confidence.
Yeah, that sold me on like, all right, you did something good. And now I see. I don't know if this other one's going to come out this year.
Is it a big Xbox game?
No, I was looking at 2XKO. I'll tell you. A fighting game. I don't know enough about fighting games, but I could take a shot at that studio fighting game. But no, I'm actually just gonna go with Elden Ring Night Ring. You know?
Oh.
Yeah. I think we'll see. I'm going with that. I'm excited to try it. Hopefully I get into the playtest they're doing. I signed up as soon as possible. But yeah, we'll see. Those multiplayer mods went off. People love doing that. The seamless, and then it kind of, I mean, multiplayer works in Elden Ring, but this is interesting. Hopefully it gives me points. Hoping at least plus 80 in the 80s.
Yeah, it's a massive turn for what they've done. Like I said, the multiplayer mods for Elden Ring already were doing good. You would hope just refining that and making it native and better, like that's all people would want and need. But
All right, I'm just gonna go safe here. I know it's coming out. This comes out in 2 weeks.
ooh,
And the first game I got around an 84. So, Citizen Sleeper 2, pretty fun narrative game with dice elements. Really well written. Just with the way the formula is, there's almost no way that this game wouldn't be at least on that level. So, I'll take my safe 84 that I know comes out in 2 weeks. If and maybe it's better too. So, feel pretty good about that one.
yeah, I see a lot of people talk about it, again, completely over my radar. I see like the first game's image a lot, the cover art for it, but
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. A lot of reading, so it's a different kind of narrative game, but it's really well done. It's a pretty interesting series.
Ooh. I'm going one also coming out early March. I had to do some research a little bit ago. First game landed at an 84, second game landed at an 83. And I hope this one, I'll take it being right around there. Another of my most anticipated this year, 2 Point Museum. Good resource management building. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's goofy, zany Sega take on a city builder, essentially, where you're given more direct missions of you need to build, and this one exhibits that reach maximum happiness or reach certain aesthetics or backgrounds, whatever it be. The stuff they have in them is just nothing to take serious. The first one, 2 Point Hospital, you were fixing people who had light bulbs for heads that were burnt out and putting new light bulbs on their bodies walking around. This one, they've shown an aquarium where they have a tigerfish that's literally just a tiger body with like a fish tail swimming around. Just fun. Personal favorite of mine. I absolutely adored 2 Point Campus when that came out, I believe 2 years ago at this point, 3 years ago maybe. So super looking forward to it. Early March.
Sounds good. I think I'm gonna go with as a fighting game fan, I'm gonna go with Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. It looks great. Everything I've seen looks really good. The stuff they showed at Evo last year was really good. A couple of my friends played it, and I think outside of, because they haven't really said anything about like training modes and stuff like that, or the more casual elements, which could potentially be a rough spot. But for the most part, just the fighting itself and the way it looks, which is what'll probably attract the most people, I think it's going to score pretty well. And then my next game would be, I want to say Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter. So this indie game, I played the first one, and it was really good. It was surprisingly good. And I say surprisingly because you wouldn't, like, the premise you wouldn't think would be all that amazing, but it's essentially you're playing as mice who are fighting other rodents and animals in a, like this kingdom. Their kingdom is attacked by like giant rats and everything. And, before you know it, you're trying to build your kingdom back up and find, rescue people and stuff like that. It's I guess like a side-scrolling action game with RPG elements. But you eventually fight like zombie mice and like different monsters and stuff. Like it gets kind of wild after a while, but it was really good. And so the second one looks to be even better. I think the first one got like 81 or something like that. And just been following the indie devs on this, and it looks great. So that's actually dropping later this month, I believe. So looking forward to that.
For your Fatal Fury pick, since Kyle brought it up, is there a reason you went that one over 2XKO?
Because 2XKO might not come out this year. And at least from what I'm seeing, there's a strong chance that it will, but that game has been in development for so long and they've had demos and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, we're going to get it. And then next year comes around. It's like, all right, we're going to, nope. And then it's, and right now there hasn't been, any announcements or anything that I've seen of it potentially coming back. So I think it's going to come out this year, but I wouldn't bet money on it just yet. That this might be like a wild pick I get like after the 7 or something like that. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Riot's in a weird place too, where that's kind of they're doing that one internally, but that's kind of the last title from their branching out into other games. They had their own Riot publishing arm. They did a bunch of indie games based off of stuff. Mage Seeker, Nunu and Willem had a game. Like, they were trying, and last year they canceled all that. They shut the whole thing down, and they're like, we're focusing back internally to what we're doing. And now 2XKO is the last remaining kind of thing for that. So I'm curious. I did the beta or alpha last year when that was out. That was solid to me. I enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah.
It felt good to play. It made you feel good not knowing combos even. Like, it has that flashy element to get casual people in. But what do we got left? We got 2 left. With my number 6, I'm going to take my hypocritical pick just for my own personal sanity of hoping that this comes out in 2025. Fable is my number 6. Playground Games, one of my favorite 360 series. The whole 1, 2, and 3 absolutely adore and love. Coming off of Fable Legends being canceled on the Xbox One generation, now giving it to a brand new studio who hasn't really done anything like this before, but has such a solid pedigree with Forza Horizon and the hiring talent they've done behind the scenes to help with this. I, bottom of my heart, want this to come out. I want this to be solid. I'm not going to get into it needs to be Xbox's next big thing, because it doesn't. I just want it to be a solid, fun experience that holds true to what Fable as an IP is and becomes a new staple form going forward.
I go with this game kicked off the Game Awards, the prelim show. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, the Blasphemous series, very solid. So I feel good about the developers, and the trailer just looked phenomenal. Looked really fast-paced, really fun. It's a developer with a good track record with a big name brand. Seems like a winner indie game to me.
Yeah, that looks really good. I was excited. I did not expect a 2D Ninja Gaiden game, and was surprised. Happily surprised.
Yeah, this was on my short list.
Phenomenal.
All right, now I got 3. We got 3 more total.
2 more total. Last 2, Kyle. Make them count.
Oh, it doesn't come back up. Duh. You're right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go with my first one, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I think that is coming out. And yeah, should be points. Now, I really thought I had one more that changes things.
While you look, yeah, Metroid Prime, I wanted to pick, but it now in a weird spot of, I wish Nintendo gave us more games yesterday of what was coming out, because with Prime, unannounced Mario 3D game, unannounced Mario Kart, how many of those are they going to pump out in the first year? Kind of up in the air if they're going to hold one of these back. You would assume Prime would be one of the initials, but
Yeah, I think it does. I think just because the Switch 1, didn't have a grand catalog of Switch games, first party games too, doesn't mean they're going to do that again. So that's how I feel. But with our next one, I'm going to go something I think will get points, and that is Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I've never played one, but yeah, it looks good. Looking at points and such there, maybe I'll play it.
I was thinking about that because it's like, man, the the remakes these days. I mean, we've had just banger remake after banger remake lately. Silent Hill 2 last year was probably the big one. Resident Evil 4 the year before. I mean, we've had Final Fantasy series being remade 7. So yeah, I am gonna go for this my last pick of the start doing free agency. So I'll take one that's been in the news because the demo came out today, and that's First Berserker Kazan. People seem pretty hyped about it. I mean, dropping the demo this early. Yeah, it's dropping the demo 2 months early is a good sign, and a lot of the feedback I've seen today has been positive, and people love the style, and obviously Ben Starr. So I got 2 Ben Starr games, so I'm happy. Got my boy.
Down, Ben. I think to end it off, I'm just gonna full send it. Yeah, I'm also one in the news for different reasons. My last pick, again, because I'm a hopeful soul. I'm gonna grab the unannounced Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake. There's too much around it to not be real at this point. I remember writing about this when it came out in the leaked court documents 2 years ago or last year, that it was supposed to be out in 2022 with a Fallout 3 remake, and that got pushed back because of the court case and acquisitions and stuff. Again, it's in a weird spot where at this point, Elder Scrolls 6 is so far out that I feel they want to do anything to give those fans something new. And Oblivion at this point's almost 20 years old. And that's one of my personal favorite nostalgia things from the 360. I'm just curious on how much they end up changing. I hope they don't just full on take it and make it pretty much 1-to-1 with Skyrim controls and mechanics. I enjoyed the leveling system in Oblivion more. I enjoyed questing in Oblivion more. I enjoyed just inventory management, how it looked like it was rolled out on a scroll of paper. Like, there's so much charm in that initial release that I hope they can bring up. And throwing that in Unreal Engine 5. Who knows? Do we get it next week at the Developer Direct, or is it a June showcase thing, hey, it's out in a month type thing?
I like it. Spicy.
Yeah,
We were all going to pick it up for like $1 right after this as well. So I do feel like this is like a for sure thing at some point. How it reviews will be interesting.
Yeah, because do they keep it, as I said, similar to the old one and stuff doesn't age as well as in my mind of nostalgia does, and it does hold it back, or do they fully update everything like a brand new thing, which you can only hope.
But that brand new thing is just a Bethesda brand new thing, and people love Bethesda games.
Starfield.
I love Starfield. Just saying it. No shade here. Can't wait to go back.
Kenny, your final initial draft pick.
So I'll be a little spicy as well. Not as spicy. And I'm going to get Outer Worlds 2. And it's spicy for me because it feels like with them making Avowed, it's like, are they going to have both of these games in the same year? And not that they couldn't do it, but it's like, you're going to make 2 potentially big games or big-ish games in the year or drop them at the same time, and then they both score well. I can see Outer Worlds potentially being pushed, to next year. However, with the trailers that they showed, I feel like it might come out towards like the end of the year, as opposed to, so like give some breathing room type stuff. Because if they have to follow up with updates for Evolved, if it doesn't, or that if they have like DLC stuff planned, stuff like that, it's possible that it might come out. But the original Outer Worlds was so great to me that I'm like, yeah, I think 2 is going to be amazing. Because it felt like New Vegas. It felt like New Vegas, but goofier, I guess you could say. And it was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. So, yep, that's my pick.
I hope it comes out because I want to play it. I loved Outer Worlds 2. I love the Outer Worlds 1. I wanted more of it. So it sounds like, just with the trailer, of course, but it sounds like they are making it bigger and adding more of that little charm they have in it.
Yeah. As you said, it easily could drop out of the year, though, just based off how Xbox wants to push out releases now. But they've been kind of the workhorse for Xbox this whole generation, with the first Outer Worlds going into Pentiment, going into Grounded, going into Avowed now. Like, they're just nonstop pumping out titles. Kenny, you're still on the clock as you'll begin our counter pick drafts. So this should also be on the left side of your screen. Again, this is, you draft one of our games we picked. Either something you think will be delayed out of the year, something that you don't think will do as good to lose you a bunch of points, or something you think will just go straight on negative. Kind of how you want to play it. If you want to play it safe for just zeros or something getting delayed, or...
Yeah, just to reiterate, so if I counter-picked Grand Theft Auto and it came and got 22 points, my team would have negative 22 points then, and that's how that works.
Got you. Okay. Man, these are all good stuff that I don't foresee not getting scored well at all. I think the closest one I could potentially pick would be the Elder Scrolls remake. And I only say that because I don't see that dropping this year. Like, I don't see that. And not that it can't, they definitely can, but like the way that they develop games, how long it takes for them to develop the games, the fact that we haven't seen much of it,
anything.
Anything. Like, we haven't, I think we saw like a little snippet of like a sky view of mountains at one point.
That was Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, it's literally been nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. So like, I think that's the like safest pick out of everything like that I've seen so far. And watch they announce it tomorrow.
Please. Yeah, again with counter picks.
6 days until you have to. Yeah.
Counter picks again are locked in. So on my list, this can no longer be dropped. So if it doesn't come out this year, I'm just stuck with a flat 0 across the board. Kenny doesn't have to worry about losing any points. So yeah, like you said, this year's so solid that all of these, like, I can see doing great. And I don't see any of these going negative at all. Like, this year's just stacked across the board. It's up to how much you're willing to lose. Because I look at stuff like First Berserker, I feel like that's going to be small enough for people reviewing that are going to be super into it no matter what. Where on my end, it's not really on my radar. I think I'm going to take what's going to cripple me the least, not the most. Picking Doom's Dark Ages, no. I think I'm going to go... I'll take Metal Gear Solid. As Buster said, remakes and remasters have been doing absolutely great. How long can that keep up, though? You mentioned Silent Hill 2. Yeah, one more time. I mentioned Silent Hill 2 last year, and I remember when that first started getting trailers, everybody was against that game. Didn't like how it looked, didn't like the tone, this and that. It wasn't what people wanted. and it came out and people loved it. It held off. Metal Gear, I'm hoping that there's enough animosity for people for Konami for kicking Kojima out that they'll come at this in a negative light.
Peace.
It's possible. I know they released I think a bundle of the Metal Gears a little while ago, and I think they weren't they were like buggy and like had issues and stuff, and so that could be something. That definitely could be something, but yeah, that's a tough one. That's tough.
Hey, whatever's going to let him lose more points, I'll take it this year. It's a good pick. Good counter pick.
All right, I'm going to take, for my counter pick, 2 reasons for this one. A, I'm not sold. I mean, it's very stylistic, but I'm not sold on the gameplay from the clips I've seen. And also, any indie game that says it's coming out in a broad year could easily get delayed. So I'm gonna take Mouse PI for higher. It looks cool, but the actual shooting, I'm just not sold on it from what I've seen.
Yeah, that was mine.
Damn it.
I think it's more likely to get like single digit points, so I'm fine with losing that. I think it's a good pick. Watch it though, be one of the best games ever come out.
Right.
All right.
It's a harder, like Cuphead 2D, 2D platformer. I just think that's, I mean, a first person shooter, like competing with like, I don't know, just when I watch the clips, I'm just not sold on it feeling that impactful.
Fair.
Stay away from my list, Kyle.
Oh no, I'm so happy no one even touched this game because I'm going for something that could slip out of 2025 here, and that is Outer Worlds 2. I'm just gonna take that one, take something. I was hit by that a lot last year, so I'm gonna lean on maybe, since it already doesn't have a date other than 2025 and fall, we assume. So yeah, if it does come out, I might lose 20 points.
Yeah, the one thing that scares me about that, I like your logic, but man, the trailer, I thought it looked significantly better, and they're saying it's 2 times bigger. Like, if it comes out, I actually think it could do better than Outer Worlds by a fair bit.
I agree. I do hope that Xbox or Avowed does well enough in the time frame that Xbox just lets Obsidian have this window. I think that's fine. Don't start the year off with a solid game. That's cool. Xbox has way too much that is fall.
They have a pretty stacked year, so it probably wouldn't hurt them to push something back.
Yeah. We'll see. There we go. See, Western over there has no counter picks against him, so his games are safe.
I almost did.
Yeah,
I almost went Expedition 33, but I want that game to do good, so I'm not going to give it any ill will.
Yeah, Expedition 30. I mean, I think I like my team because I got almost all sequels that viewed well. So the Expedition 33 is the one team that's like, oh, we don't know much about them. And I guess First Berserker too, but at least that's in people's hands already. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
I did look up here just for clarification at the start. Now that this is done, the bidding system is through Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So after tomorrow, bidding can start, or it can even start today because it's not done yet. But the system will be secret until Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then at 8 p.m. on Thursday nights is when it pushes out the message of, hey, so-and-so, don't bet on this game. Letting people know it's available or is potentially going to be picked up. And then processed Saturday at 8 p.m. So Saturday is when processing of bids happen. Again, $1 minimum, just so people aren't sneaking in sneaky zeros, because I did that a bunch the first year and I felt kind of bad about it. Saved my money, though. Didn't get anything for it. With that is our 2025 Fantasy Critic Draft. We'll try and get back together it's hopefully around June time after showcase season, when all the rest of the announcements and the playing field's kind of more announced and evened out, depending on what happens with GTA, what happens with delays, whatever it may be. year's looking absolutely stacked either way. I can't be more excited. My wallet hurts. My time management hurts from it already. It hasn't even happened. With that, Big Nerd, where can people find you? Where can people support you? Give us the details as we head on out.
Yeah, I'm Big Nerd Gaming on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads. I'd say I'm most active on Blue Sky these days. And then the website's bignerdgaming.com. So 2 posts a week. Just wrapped up all my 2024 stuff. Just did my top 15 most anticipated of 2025. Next week, I got news for Closer the Distance and Indiana Jones coming out. And then probably Dragon Age and Doom the week after. And then we finally move into 2025 releases. So excited for that.
Man's put out so many top 10 lists. You have a new one every day of the week.
It's 2 times a week.
Lists, man. Lists are good.
Kenny, where can the people find you? Where are you hanging out?
You can find me at Kenny UFG on X and Blue Sky. I usually post all of my written stuff there, like a link to all my written stuff. And you can also, we're going to be starting up our podcast again next month. And so you can follow that, the Gamecast 1 on X or the Gamecast on Blue Sky. And we talk about games, anime, films, all that good stuff. And we occasionally have special guests. So we had like Scott Derrickson, who did the first Doctor Strange film. He came on and spoke with us. We had David F. Sandberg, who's doing the Until Dawn movie. He's been on with us. And just like a bunch of others. So definitely check that out. And yeah, we'll be back podcasting February. I can't give you the date just yet, but we'll be back in February.
Nice.
That's wild. Kyle, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me here when we normally record every Sunday with you. But on my other stuff, it's Kyle the Do. We're throwing darts at a board with our content, trying out new things. We still got game stuff coming out. We'll be covering the Xbox, the developer _direct when that happens next week. And right after this, I'm going to start watching wrestling. We do Friday and Monday night watch-alongs with SmackDown and Raw. It's a new thing. I got super into WWE last year. Ended up watching pretty much weekly, at least kept up on social media. So I want to dive into it and have fun. So if you're interested or you like wrestling, come on over at Kyle the Do on Twitch, on all the socials, and hang out with this new community.
As for me, Badlands backlogs everywhere. Again, we have sunset the website. We're off to video content now, letting my workload decrease somewhat this year. Just posted 2 days ago most anticipated games of 2025 on the YouTube. We also have 2025 developer direct predictions for next week, Thursday, as well as the Silent Hill 2 video review, which was my first major venture out as far as video editing content goes. Hopefully this week, doing more streaming here, twitch.tv, Badlands Backlogs. Smite 2 with Kenny, who knows? Marvel Rivals with Kyle, who knows? So many options, so many games. Thank you all for stopping by, hanging out with us. We will catch you guys wherever it may be, one of our channels where we're hanging out. Happy gaming, until next time.
Hang, guys.